Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dr. Stone Geekout. I'm your host, Danny. Got Ryan and Brian with me.
Hey, how's it going?
It's time to resume science class.
Yes, so sorry about literally being like 2-3 weeks behind. But that being said, we are going to do things a little bit differently. Rather than tackle episodes 4 and 5 individually as how we probably normally would do, because we've been so far behind and you guys have waited long enough, we're just going to go on ahead and combine the two. So we're going to talk about episodes 4 and 5 in this video.
Yeah. I mean, plus on top of that, it's like, as far as I'm aware, it's like from what we've seen from episodes 4 and 5, I mean, yeah, we got some new intel when it comes to some of the characters or the overall story or whatever, but in actuality, it felt like not a whole lot was going on between these two episodes. I mean, that could just be
it was more so focused. It was much more focused on Senku.
Yeah. And to be fair, like, for those of you who have read the manga, so we are nearly done with the prologue. Like, literally, like, I'm thinking, like, episode 6 is going to be the last bit of prologue that we have before we really kickstart the story. So that's where it's like, I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense to, like, combine the two, especially because it's like, granted, a lot more. I think there's a lot more to talk about, really. I think with probably episode 5 than there is 4. It's like there's really even like episode 3 was like kind of slow moving. There's not a whole lot to talk about,
right.
But as far as episode 4 goes, so again, picking up where we left off. So Yuzuri and Taiju had like this pretty sweet moment between the two of them where, she's asking Taiju, hey, what was it you were going to tell me all those years ago? But then Taiju is like, you know what? Now's not the time. Let's save humanity first, and then I'll tell you. So I was like, you big idiot.
you big.
You really cannot help but like Taiju.
It's like, you big-hearted oaf.
Really?
Like, seriously, it's like, on one hand, it's like, okay, dude, you've waited like thousands of years to tell this girl what you're about to say. So it's like, yeah, you would think it's like, all right, now's the time to let her know. But at the same time, yeah, I'm pretty much on the same boat with you guys. You still can't help but, respect, Taiju's decision to hold off on telling her what he wanted to say, until after they bring back civilization. It's like, God damn it, you lovable bastard.
I know. And meanwhile, Senku is like chopping at a rock trying to get sulfur. So it's like, dude does not give a shit.
I want my guns.
He wants his scientific guns.
Dude, only Senku, when presented with the option of, hey, would you rather have a gun or would you rather fuck? Senku takes the gun. He's the only one that would actually do that.
Hey, I could probably fuck the gun.
Oh, God damn it.
With science, we will find a way. We will finally have our sex robots.
Oh, no. Oh, God, you say that, and yet we got a brief moment with a mech Senku. Hey, don't try this at home.
Yeah, so in the manga, like, occasionally it'll be like, yeah, Senku is explaining how it is that you make something. And while, while scientifically accurate, you gotta have that disclaimer, like, okay, kids, don't try this at home. And it's like, yeah, like in the manga, it'll be like a panel or something where it'll be like, you'll have like, they'll throw in like, like Mecha Senku or something, just going in saying, yes, kids, this is fun, but don't try this at home. Seriously, this is way too dangerous for you guys. So it's like, it's one of those things like, okay, you would expect like, you would expect that would be a manga only thing. Like, that's the quirk of the manga, if you want to call it that. But nope, they threw it in the anime too.
I'm not just waiting for an instance where like a chibi like Senku comes up before giving like instructions on how to make like a nuclear bomb. He says, "Kids, science responsibly."
Science responsibly.
Yeah, really.
I love that.
Alrighty. So with that said, so yeah, they ultimately make the gunpowder, and then Taiju, being the OP motherfucker that he is, accidentally set it off. So now they get like this loud explosion, which, pretty much caused two things to happen. One, it more or less alerted Tsukasa that, where they are. So now it's like, well, no need so much for hiding. But it also, because it sent off like a smoke signal, they noticed that, oh shit, there's some other smoke signals coming out in the distance, like in response. So yeah, there are other humans out there. So it's like, of course, we don't meet them quite yet. We still got probably like another episode or two before we start bringing them in. So there are other humans out there, but, this is the first time we're really seeing that, okay, it's not just these three bumbling idiots and Tsukasa. There are others out there, but like I said, we gotta wait.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
oh man, more humans who were fortunate enough to get pooped on by a bat.
Amongst other things.
Yeah. But sure enough, enter Tsukasa, who ends up finding them, and he takes Yuzuriha hostage, because of course he does. Because, what else is Yuzuriha good for at this point? It's just being hostage.
God.
It's like, it's like, yeah, and like in these episodes, like you do see that, like, you don't really get an opportunity to see it too much here, but before the world turned to stone, Yuzuriha, she was part of like the arts and crafts club, so she's really good at things like sewing and shit. So that's where it's like, okay, ideally that's what she would be contributing in this stone world. So it's like, okay, we need to do things like sewing, tanning, like that kind of stuff. That's really going to be her job. But we really don't get a good opportunity to really see that in action here in the beginning. So, yeah, she's just good for being hostage bait.
You'll get your character art in a moment, honey.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, sorry, Yuzuriha. It's like, again, this is kind of like what we said back with episode 3, where it's like, she just does not stand out nearly as much compared to the other guys. It's like, she's just here to be the girl.
She's here to be the waifu material that eventually everyone makes Rule 34 pictures of.
Yeah, I'm sure it exists out there. I dare not look.
Right.
Safe search off.
Alrighty. So then with that said, so Yuzuriha gets taken hostage. We also see that, like, Tsukasa, like, in an attempt to try to intimidate Senku, makes it look like, oh, he's gonna lob her head off, but instead he just gives her a nice haircut.
And she's very thankful for it.
She's like, oh, thank God I don't have to take care of this hair in the stone world without shampoo and conditioner. She's got a point there, but still.
But still, it's like this guy could have killed you. And
no, I'm trying
in a way, so it's like you should still be very afraid right now.
It's like, come on, you're supposed to be afraid of me.
Right. Well, again, not to Yuzuriha's credit, because Tsukasa was making the demand saying, hey, you tell me how it was that you made the revival fluid, then I will not kill Yuzuriha. But, she's saying, Senku, don't listen to him. I don't care if I die. It's like, I guess nice of you to be, self-sacrificing, I guess. Again, hostage bait. But, but Senku, because, as we know, this is the guy, he wants to save everybody. He's not even willing to let Yuzuriha suffer. So he tells Tsukasa exactly how it was that he made the revival fluid, even down to the goddamn percentages. I mean, he gave him every fucking detail. So yeah, it's like, this is definitely gonna come back in the future. We're just stick a pin in this. This will come back to haunt them way later on down the line.
Oh man, it's like, okay, I was just hoping and praying that it's like, yeah, when Senku was pretty much giving away, the recipe for the revival fluid or whatever, he would leave out like just like one, maybe two important ingredients and just make something up, just so that it seems believable, but it's actually, completely incorrect. Like leaving out the part where there's bat poop involved or something like that. Just to throw this guy off guard.
Yeah, well, it's like, Tsukasa's like, well, he's been with the guys for a little bit, so I think he would, at this point, I mean, I think it's probably more so like, if Senku was lying, Tsukasa probably would have seen through it. I mean, he even does say, hey, dude, you're not the kind of person to just lie and cheat and all that other shit, because you are a man of science and all, because apparently that means something.
Right.
Science never lies.
Yeah. So pretty much episode 4 ends where Tsukasa, again offers an ultimatum to Senku. He's like, I will let you live if you pretty much abandon science. Don't do anything with science anymore. Just completely leave it behind and, just, submit to my way of thinking. And then we get this really adorable little flashback sequence of, Bebe Senku, where it's like, now we actually see, like, as a kid, kids reading so many books. He's taking shit apart because he's just trying to learn everything. And, Dad's being a good support. He's being a good sport about that. I mean, it's like he literally like sells his car and uses the money to buy like all kinds of science shit for Senku. So it's like, he sells his car and gives his kid a fucking lab, basically.
And to think Dexter had to make his all on his own.
Yeah, really? And then, so then it's like, so we start seeing, like, so we see, again, he's, building stuff. He's doing these little experiments. Taiju apparently just shows up at some point and is just like, oh, hey, this is cool. And it's like...
Everyone else around is like, where the fuck is this kid getting all this?
Yeah, they're like, well, what's this kid's problem? Like, it went from like, oh, he's burning shit with the magnifying glass. Oh, that's so cute. Now all of a sudden he's making like liquid nitrogen shit, and they're just like, oh, what's this kid doing?
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. Then you see like, a bunch of guys start kicking his machine. Taiju goes on the defensive and is like, beating the shit out of Taiju. So in response, what does Senku do? Builds a fucking stun gun and goes after.
Yeah, a Ghostbuster gun-sized taser, and he takes out the bullies with him.
Yeah, so it's like, don't fuck with my machines. Don't fuck with Taiju. It's like,
and don't fuck with the
science. Enemies of science will perish.
Senku technology is the best in the world! God damn it.
We say this while Senku's trying to build Baba Senku's trying to make a rocket.
Ryan, it's funny you say that, but it's like, hey, they're fighting a pillar man, so we might as well complete the circle.
This is true.
God damn it. Oh no!
Can't believe Senku's gonna die in World War III.
The sequel you've all been waiting for.
Oh yes. So then we see that Taiju drags Yuzuriel along. She makes these like little dolls, and then it's like, okay, they make the rocket. and the rocket blows up, but the dolls are now floating in space. So then now they are floating in space forever, never to think.
Yeah.
Mission successful. Senku himself was not able to reach space, as he said when he was a kid, in school or whatever. He still technically made it to space by means of a doll that looks like Senku. So that counts, right?
Yeah, close enough.
It is close enough.
And then they land on an alien planet.
Yeah, so it's like, cute little flashback sequence of a baby Senku. And then he gets his neck snapped.
Thanks, Tsukasa.
Yeah, and here I am just like, all right, okay, no, clearly Senku is not taken out of the picture or anything, because it's like, it's still very early in the prologue or whatever. It's like, we know that sooner or later, like, something is gonna happen where he's gonna be brought back to life after Tsukasa, supposedly snapped his neck.
Yeah.
And then credits!
Now that being said, this is where I gotta say, I fucking love Tsukasa here, because again, I think this is kind of what helps him stand out as a bad guy, where it's like, even though he's like, yeah, he recognizes that Senku is his enemy, but it's like, you can even just see the look on his face. He's just like, I really, really don't want to kill you, but I have to, so I'll make it painless for you. I'll give you that much. It's where it's like, God damn it, Tsukasa. It's like, I know they do this whole thing about how he's like, yes, the guy is a murderer, he's definitely, he's definitely bad guy, not good guy by any means. But even then, it's like he still has his honor to him, like honor and loyalty, and it's like I really like that. All right, so I'm trying to think. Was there? That was pretty much episode 4. Was there really anything else that we were missing?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because coming is like, yeah, this correlates to what I was saying earlier. It's like, yeah, we got some more intel on what happens, with what more of Senku's origins, in episode 4, and his interest in science and all of that. But with what is happening during present day, still not a whole lot happened aside from the fact that that they were able to successfully create gunpowder, and Taiju almost confessed to his girl or whatever, but aside from that, and the fact that Senku got his neck snapped, thanks to Tsukasa, that's pretty much it, really.
Alrighty. Okay, so let's just move on to episode 5. So episode 5 literally picks up right where 4 left off, where it's like, okay, yep, neck snapping, all that other fun shit, and then Taiju happens to come by because he was gathering sticks or something, when all this was going down, and it's like, yeah, Taiju is not taking this well.
I'm going to one punch you straight to the moon.
Yeah, it's seriously, it's yeah, Tsukasa, you don't know who you're dealing with here. You're pissing off the One Punch Man.
Yeah, really. The One Punch Pillar Man, as it were. Yep, it's it would be completely reckless if, even for Taiju to go ahead and try to attack this guy, mindlessly without thinking straight.
Yeah. And that's actually Tsukasa was actually expecting that. He was just expecting Taiju to just blindly attack him. And he was ready to use Yuzuriha as a hostage again. He's just he's yeah, he'll probably come after me, but if I use Yuzuriha as a shield, that'll calm him down. It's
yeah.
God damn it. It's Yuzuriha, seriously, you are here for hostage bait.
Yeah. And then Taiju instead is fuck this rock.
Yeah, he's I'm going to pull an Undyne and bench press this rock.
Yeah, all the while, like he did not lose his cool at all. Even though Tsukasa pretty much took out Senku in a matter of speaking or whatever, he was calm throughout the entire time. Like for a character who is, mostly revolves around like just like the muscle of the group or whatever. And yeah, he was surprisingly really calm throughout the whole thing. And he thought things through, and essentially, yeah, he used the large rock as well to pretty much ignite the gunpowder and cause an explosion.
Yeah, that's where it's like you really see like the influence that Senku has had on Taiju and Yuzuriya here, because it's like, yeah, he chucks the rock, but it's the kind of rock that when it strikes things, it creates sparks because there's metal in there. So it's like he chucks the rock, Yuzuriya chucks the gunpowder right at freaking Tsukasa. Rock lands right on top of the gunpowder. Boom! It's like they pulled a Senku together.
Also, I call hacks because even though this was a massive explosion that Yuzuriya and freaking Taiju created, Tsukasa was left unscathed. We even got a shot of Tsukasa just standing there. Yeah, he has his arm, he covered himself with his arms or whatever. But it's when you look at the flames caused by the explosion, they were going like right past the guy, as if it's like even like the flames could not even touch the man. So it's like, okay, all right, look, Pillar Man, One Punch Man or not or whatever, it's like that guy should have been burnt to a bloody crisp. I am just saying.
It's like he pulled a fucking Sephiroth. It's like, fire doesn't hurt me.
Fire avoids me at all times, apparently.
Explain this, science boy.
It's seriously, science.
The most it did was burn his robe. That's the most that it did.
Seriously,
it was
not
his
even
favorite
science can disprove how ridiculous that is.
It's fucking anime bullshit.
Yeah, so that at least gave everybody the chance to run, and they pretty much figure out that Senku, I guess he still had a little bit of that petrification, like he still had a little bit of rock on his neck, which it's like, because again, if you remember when when they were first talking about like how the actual like breaking works, as they're saying, like, when everyone was in the rock, it was like, they were pretty much broken. But, with the revival fluid, it's like, yes, it does burn through the rock, but it kind of helped keep it helped, yeah. I can't talk today. It helped keep everybody's bodies intact while the rock, could break away. So basically they're like, well, hey, what if, we use the revival fluid on this part of his neck that's, got the rock on there. Basically, it's going to want to fix his neck because it's going to act the same way as if you're just breaking out. It's going to want to, keep the body together. So it's like, okay, let's do that, use the fluid on his neck and have that heal his neck. Because science.
Because, yeah, there was still somehow, I guess apparently throughout this entire time that Senku was walking about or whatever, there was still just a tiny piece of that rock, on the back of his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he kept cracking his neck all the time.
Yeah, they deliberately, made that a freaking clue. Whereas, you saw that frequently he was doing that. And even Taiju's like, yeah, wait, that's not something Senku does. Like, he doesn't just naturally crack his neck or anything. Like, that was unusual. It's like he never really thought about it until Yuzuriya brought it up. But
yeah, right.
Yep. So then So then it's like, okay, let's go use the revival fluid. Let's save Senku. But before we get that confirmation, we're going to pull a golden wind here. We're going to pretty much grind everything to a halt and go into another flashback.
With shiny monkeys.
Yes, this time. So now we're actually seeing, like, okay, how, what exactly happened, between when Senku woke up and when Taiju woke up. And yeah, apparently he was scaring the monkeys.
And they turned into the old critic guys from the Muppets.
Yeah, seriously. It was like, it's like, yeah, Senku's trying to figure all this shit out. He's trying to create basic tools. And like the monkeys, they're just sitting like in the peanut gallery, just constantly commentating over this guy.
Like,
at first they're freaked out because it's like, oh my god, he has no hair and he's just letting everything hang out. What is with the shiny monkey? And then they're seeing like, he's trying to create fire. He's smacking rocks, and they're like, this shiny monkey is fucking stupid. It's like, why is he playing with rocks? Why is he playing with sticks? And it's like, and next thing you know, oh, shiny monkey acquired fire. Shiny monkey acquired tools. I mean, they literally played it like an RPG, and they did this in the manga too, where it was like, it's like you see this, and it's like, text bubble appears, and it's like, oh, acquired such and such. It's like, that was the thing in the manga too, where it's like they made it like, it's like pretty much like a JRPG because, Senku is a nerd after all. So yeah,
Senku, a level 12 tactician.
Yeah, really. And that was pretty much like, that was practically like the second half of episode 5 was just seeing this flashback of just what the hell was Senku doing and like how it was he was able to survive all this time.
And now at this point, it's like, safe to say, like probably for next week's episode or whatever. It's like then they're actually gonna get around to just telling us is like, all right, let's see what happens. Let's see what really happens when they pour the rejuvenation fluid all over that little piece of rock on the back of Senku's neck.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, you'll be getting all that next week. I mean, it's like I said, like that's going to be next week. The story, like the prologue, pretty much will be going into, will for sure end next week. Where I'm curious is that going to take up the entire episode? Like, is that going to be like, because there's really not all that much left. But I'm curious where it's like, okay, is that going to be dedicated to the entire episode? Or is that going to be like the first half of the episode and the second half is we're just going straight into like, what we like to call chapter 1 in the manga?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say.
I kind of get the feeling like it's probably going to be the latter. Like, it's probably going to be like, first half of next week's episode is going to be like, all right, we finished up prologue shit, and then, second half is going to be, the beginning of chapter 1, where now all that's going to start getting set up.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, on one hand, I can see that, but on the other hand, it's like, I get the feeling they may or may not also find a way to, take care of like the rest of the prologue all within just one last episode, and then they'll officially start chapter 1 on the following episode, just so that I could give like chapter 1, I guess, a proper start.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way, but I'm honestly thinking it's gonna be like, first half of the episode is the end of the prologue, and then second half is actually starting chapter 1.
Right, yeah. I'm leaning more towards that idea. However, I will not be surprised if they took it the other direction and they focus the rest of the prologue within one episode and then start chapter 1 during the next episode after that.
Yeah. And again, it's like, I know, like, for those of us who have actually read the manga, like, this is probably like what we've been waiting for. We're waiting because pretty much like, again, the prologue, it's a decent start. Make no mistake about it. But it's like I said, it's very slow moving compared to, when, chapter 1 really starts. Like when that picks up, it was like really, I think, when I got hooked. when I started reading the manga. So that's where it's like, I kind of get the feeling like that's probably what's going to happen with the anime too, where it's like, like, I mean, these beginning episodes are good, but it's going to kick up. It's going to kick up really hard, and it's going to kick up really quick in the next couple of episodes. And it's really, I think it's like, yeah, because it's like we still have like a whole cast of characters that we haven't even seen yet. So like all these people in the opening and the ending that you've been seeing, it's like they're coming. And that's really, I think, like, that's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for these characters to show up.
It's like these characters couldn't possibly be, the reason behind that second smoke signal that we ran into during the middle of episode 4. And now it's just a matter of when they're gonna get to that second smoke signal.
All right, so I guess so episode 5. Is there anything in episode 5 that we missed?
I kind of wanted to bring up that I did like how at the beginning, when we did do that little recap in the previous episode, we did get like this little instance where Tsukasa kind of just pictured himself in Senku's past.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I completely overlooked that. Where it's like, like Tsukasa even mentioned, like, had I met you guys like before the Stone World took place, you guys probably would have been my first friends. And it's like, it's like that entire flashback that we had gotten in episode 4. It's like, okay, let's see some snippets of that, but now we see like a baby Tsukasa amongst them. It's just like, oh, don't tug at the heartstrings.
And
like
apparently
that.
He's still kicking ass.
Yeah, he can see. Yeah, he can still UFC. Freaking crazy.
Oh my god. yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that was a pretty sweet.
It's like, although it's like at that point I'm just like, just forget trying to fire the rocket. Just have Tsukasa throw it into space.
You know what? I probably would buy it.
Yeah, really.
It's like the dude can catch ducks out of the fucking sky.
and can literally one punch lions.
Yeah, so it's like, why not chuck a rocket into space?
To Mars, motherfucker. And thus, they replaced all the rocket fuel in NASA with Tsukasa's throwing arm.
Yeah, it's like that's all NASA needs. Like, you want to kickstart NASA again? Just use Tsukasa. All right, so I'm trying to get. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered everything that we needed to cover, honestly.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so with that said, hopefully we will not let this happen again where we go weeks on end without watching Dr. Stone. I hope that doesn't happen again, so join us next time where we will hopefully only be talking about episode 6.
Right. Alright, we will see you guys next week.
Adios. And it's like the next episode we make. What do you mean the series is already done?